Okay, I want to welcome everybody and remind you, if you would put your on mute, and if you have a question or something you want us to follow up on, please write it in the chat box or raise your hand and we'll get back to you. I'm going to make sure. I think other people are coming on. First of all, I want to thank all of our parents and guardians for getting on. The purpose of this is to continue with us trying to communicate good things that are going on campus, keep you in the know of what's happening with Bulldog Athletics. And so this is sort of like a recap of the fall semester, and also hopefully we'll share a few things to help you as we go through the holidays and get ready to come back in January. I'm going to kick this off by turning it over to David Jandrew, who's the Associate AD in charge of external operations, particularly with fundraising, communications, marketing, and ticketing. So David, you're up first.
Thank you, Janet, and welcome parents. The one thing that I wanted to touch on tonight was to give you all an update from our fall broadcast numbers on ESPN Plus. I know a lot of you follow us, matches, events that you can't be at, as well as on the road. And I just wanted to give you an update on the numbers that we had from the fall. UNC Asheville leads the Big South Conference in broadcasting events. We were actually 8 broadcasts total above the next highest school in the league. And just to give you an idea of our fall sports, volleyball, we covered 7 more matches than any other conference or any other team in our league. We were tops in volleyball, we were tops in men's soccer, and we were second in women's soccer. And for any of our women's soccer parents are going to say, wait a second, how come we were second? It was only because we didn't have as many home matches as the team that was first. We broadcast every home volleyball, every home men's soccer, every home women's soccer event in the fall, as well as 2 swim meets. And we'll have another one of those coming up in the wintertime. And for any of our basketball families, you certainly have noticed that we cover those, and then baseball in the spring. We'll have that coming up as well. Please know we take great pride in the way our broadcasts are, but unfortunately we have no control over what happens when our teams go on the road. So if you notice a difference, I certainly hope you'll let us know the things that you believe we're doing well, but please know we can't control what happens when our teams go on the road. Sometimes we're just happy if we can see them, if the video works. So I just wanted to share that with you all. And again, thank you for following us on ESPN Plus.
Hey, now I went off mute. Okay, thank you, David. A little bit about our ESPN Plus and covering. I'm now going to go to our Assistant Athletic Director for Student Athlete Success, and she's got some great news to share about our fall academics. So Rebecca Nelms, you're up next.
Thank you so much. I do have great news. We set an internal goal of having a departmental GPA of a 3.2. I would like to announce, I'm happy to announce that we exceeded it. As I will say, it's a 3.2003. So I'll take that 3/100ths. But it definitely reflects a lot of hard work from the student athletes in the classroom this semester. We had 42 student athletes who earned a perfect 4.0. And so obviously that goes a long way to boosting the departmental GPA. A piece that I want to make sure that you guys are aware of as support for your student athletes is the number of resources that are available to them in academics. Within their OnePort account, there is a button that's called Tutor Me. They can click that button and have access to a tutor 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on whatever topic they're looking for. So if it is the day before finals and someone is finally, thinking, oh, I thought I had everything in place, and they discover that they've got one more question, remind them that that service is out there. And then of course we have a longer range plan for tutors and support for students who identify that early in the process. Another couple of things that I'd like to mention in terms of student support pieces, we will have a nutritionist that is starting with us in January. Brooke Lyon has accepted the position. She is an assistant in the strength and conditioning department, as well as being a resource for our student athletes and teams moving forward in the area of nutrition and nutritional planning. Also, along those lines, we've had a wonderful partnership with HCA Mission Health, and they have heard us and our student athletes' concerns about coverage in the athletic training room. They're doing a great job of covering events, but in covering the events, sometimes there's not as much drop-in access. And so one of the pieces that they are committing to in the January timeframe, so spring semester, they have posted or will post in the next week a position that will give us a 5th athletic trainer to have more drop-in hours available in the athletic training room. So we're really excited for their commitment to continue to improve access for our student athletes in the training room. Those are my highlights.
Well, thank you. Those are good highlights. We want to add to, you talked about the 4.0s. How many student athletes had a 3.0 or better? I think that is really impressive.
Oh, I didn't bring that sheet of paper. It was 179, I think.
So 179 of our 250 student athletes had a 3.0 or better. So your scholar athletes are actually, really getting it done in the classroom. So we're very proud of that. And kudos to everyone, including the coaches and the support team that helps them. Let's go next to Dr. Laura Jones, who heads up all our mental health services. So Dr. Jones, if you give us a little update from the fall.
Of course. Hi, everybody. So this fall, we've been continuing to work with coaches and teams. Some of our teams we're working with on a monthly basis, training them in skills that they can use both in play as well as in life. Outside of that, we have been working with our mental health ambassadors, which is a group of 18 athletes that is very well represented in both some of our men's teams as well as our women's teams. We meet on a regular basis, developing programming for all of athletics, helping to keep lines of communication open, and seeing what teams need and seeing what ways that we can support individual teams in that way as well. Part of that, we had a World Mental Health Week where they wrote a proclamation helping to share with others the value that they see in doing this work and their missions as a group. And it was really important to them to be able to read that as various games. So not only are they having an influence on our campus, but they're having an influence on other teams in the Big South as well and in the region. One of the other things that we've done this fall is develop a relationship with a company called Mindflow. Mindflow is an online service that provides both sports psychology as well as clinical mental health services solely to athletes. They contract out with mental health providers and sports psychologists all across the country. And your athletes can use that service completely for free, whether it's related to just sports psychology or whether they're struggling in some other area and need additional support. So that is entirely free, and we are encouraging all of them to take advantage of that because these are services that would cost anywhere of, over $100 into sometimes $200 an hour, and it's free for them. And we're really excited about that service. And that's in addition to the other ways that we were helping to get them connected to supports both on campus and off campus. So if any of you all have questions about any of that, ways that you can get your athletes connected, please reach out and we'll gladly help in that area.
Thank you, Dr. Jones. And also just a reminder, our student athletes and coaches continue to use Real Response, which is 24/7. They're able to reach out to us, alert us to concerns, challenges, and also things that are going really good. So, hopefully those are some new communication tools that we're using to try to do the best job we can to know what's going on. Speaking about what's going on with student athletes, I'm going to go to Erin Spence next, our assistant AD for compliance, but also Erin is our senior woman administrator and sponsor of our Student Athlete Advisory Council.
Hi, thank you so much. I was also going to mention about Real Response. So I'm glad that Janet said that it is a confidential way that the student athletes can speak to us. So that's very important for our student athletes. We are getting some more NIL opportunities this year. If your student athlete is interested in that, they can come see me if they want some guidance about that. There is going to be a class in the second semester that one of our mass comm faculty will be teaching about personal branding and really tying into how can they grow their personal brand and how can they make some money off NIL, things like that. One of the things that I'm really proud about that we're doing this year is really expanding some of our life skills programming. We've started a pilot program called Unleashed, which is highly tailored self-leadership, professional development kind of learning for senior and junior women in our department. We have 6 ladies that are taking part in that program this year. And towards the end of the spring semester, we'll reach out and get some new ladies for next year's program. So if your daughter might have missed that and you want to take part in that next year, please recommend that she apply. Johnny Wongren, who is on this call I saw, is really adding to our life skill programming in a robust way for all the students, not just the small group like I'm working with. And he is trying to tailor that program to what they're individually requesting and needing based on their career opportunities or their interest or their year of school. You know, the freshmen may need different kind of opportunities than our graduating seniors will need. And then he's also put together a captain's council, and we are continuing with our Leaders for Leaders mentoring program. We have about 75 student athletes involved in that this year, and that program's been going for 10 or 11 years. And so if your student is interested in that, Rebecca Nelms and I work on that, and we'd love to get them connected with a community mentor in any way. The SAC is also doing great things, so we're really proud of what student athletes are able to do with their leadership this year.
Thank you, Erin. That was a great summary. Colin Smith, our Associate Athletic Director for Internal Operations and Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Colin, you're up next.
Thank you. Thank you, Janet. First and foremost, welcome to you guys. We had Chris Singleton. Thank you to Janet Cohn, and then also friends of department. He came and delivered a powerful message, not only to our student athletes, but to our staff and our staff and coaches. And I think a lot of people appreciated that. Another guest speaker we have coming in February 28th is Ta-Nehisi Coates. He is an American award-winning author. We were blessed to get him to come to our campus. I think he's going to do an awesome job. It's open to the public, but we have partnered with across campus to make it kind of an event for Asheville. So if you're in the area as a parent, you want to come, let me know and we'll get the information to you. You can get tickets. We're going to help sponsor a quality inclusion night with the Rising Coaches Association that will be done at the basketball game. I've partnered with the local corporate partner in Asheville, and I think it's going to be a great event. Every NCAA and NAI basketball school will be a part of it and take place, from us to University of North Carolina to Maryland to Duke. So I think it's an awesome event. And last year they came in our campus and they said we did an amazing job. So I think that's one thing that kind of give exposure to our campus. And then last but not least, we have meet and greet socials. We had one in the fall, and we're going to have one in the spring again, because of course you guys know DEI work is never finished. There's always something to do to better ourselves as a community and as a department. Thank you, Janet.
I muted myself. Make sure if you're not speaking to be on mute. One of our newer members of our athletic department administration is Erin Bessie. Erin is our Associate Athletic Director for Major Gifts. So Erin, you're up next.
Awesome. Thanks, Janet. Hey, everyone. As Janet said, I'm a newbie. Erin Bessie, Associate Athletic Director with Leadership Giving and just development in general. So I got 2 quick giving plugs for you guys. Don't mute me. I promise it's important. So it's the end of the year. So great time for giving as far as tax write-offs. So I want to give you guys a link where you can make a gift either to the regular Bulldog Athletic Association fund or to a specific sport. Could be the one your son or daughter plays here at UNC Asheville. That link is uncabulldogs.com/give. And I'm going to put that in the chat as well, but it's uncabulldogs.com/give. If you want to make a gift before the 31st, we would really appreciate it. The other thing, all programs in the country, even Alabama, have needs and wants. We're no different. Okay, maybe we're a little bit different than Alabama, but all of our programs have things that they still need and want. Your student athlete son or daughter could tell you that. So if you do have interest in finding out more about, how your specific program can be better, can get better, what those specific needs and wants are for those sports, please reach out to me directly. I'm going to put my contact information in the chat along with that website. And we'll just have a conversation, because every sport, every coach, every student athlete knows that we're trying to do everything we can to give all of the student athletes the best possible experience we can here at UNC Asheville. So if you're interested in hearing more about how you can help a specific program, just reach out to me, let me know, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that any of you guys have. But other than that, that's all I got, boss.
Aaron, thanks so much. Andy Fisher, our assistant AD from communication. Andy, you want to give any updates from communication?
Thank you, Janet. I just want to start off by echoing David's sentiments from earlier. Our broadcast team of Alan Ellis and Roman Ugelhus have done a great job this year, not only leading the Big South and putting on all the broadcast stuff, but also wearing a lot of different hats behind the scenes to make sure the coverage of all our athletic teams remains at a top-notch level. Another thing that I'd like to touch on here, Aaron's not the only one with the shameless plug. Everyone visit uncabulldogs.com to keep up to date with all the schedules, rosters, post-game, pre-game stories that's going out, as well as follow all your favorite Bulldog teams on social media. That's probably the most up-to-date information that you can have on each of our teams. With that, as I'm stepping into this new role here, I'm excited to finish the semester strong and also telling the great stories that all of our athletes are doing into the spring semester. Thanks, Janet.
Yeah, thank you, Andy. Our communication staff is doing a great job, not only reporting the results of competitions, but just yesterday, a great story went out about some of our student athletes who are involved in undergraduate research, because we really believe we need to tell the whole story about the life of a student athlete and some of the amazing work that they're doing, not only in competition, but in academics and also in community service. I think Richard was on here, but is Richard, are you still on or did you drop off?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, Richard, our assistant AD for budget and finance. Why don't you give a little update?
Sure. The two things that I'm excited about right now are not budget related, but more so strategy and measurables. So we're wrapping up two different projects. One being the university hired a consulting group to come in and talk to us and analyze us. And so I'm excited to see that report come back, because that's hopefully going to have some recommendations to help us get better. And then the second project that we're just about finished with is an economic impact study. The UNC System Office commissioned that, and I'm excited to see the results of that project, because that will show definitively how important Bulldog athletics is to Asheville and the community from an economic standpoint. So those are some high-level strategy projects we've been working on that I'm excited to get back.
Yeah, I'm glad Richard mentioned the assessment study that we've gone through, because listening to this report, it sounds like we're doing everything so great. We're so wonderful, but we are always looking for ways to get better. We also have on here Dr. Jeff Wilcox, who is our faculty athletic representative. Jeff, you want to come on and give a little update from the faculty perspective for the fall semester?
Yeah, sure. I don't have a whole lot to add. I'm actually at a conference right now in Chicago, and it's a very big building, but I found a place to get away from the 16,000 other people here. I don't have a lot to add other than what folks have already said. I'll just say in my 9th year as being FAR, and my job is to advocate for your sons and daughters as student athletes and the entire student athlete experience. And I'm really happy about a lot of the initiatives that our athletic department has taken in terms of mental health, in terms of leadership and mentorship opportunities. And I just think it says a lot about our athletic department. And I'll just say I get to go to the our conference meetings. We had the fall Big South Conference meeting in Charlotte, I think back in late October. And I'll just tell you that all of the other ADs and SWAs and FARs look to Janet, who's often thought about a lot of these important issues way before other schools have. And so I feel like we're a very proactive department. So that's something I'm pretty proud of. I'm also pretty happy because this semester was wonderful. People were in classes, not Zoomed, and it was just mostly back to normal, it felt like to me. So that's my update.
Yeah, it is nice to say that our update is not centered around the word COVID, and because we've had many of these Zooms where the topic was only COVID. So that is, thanks for saying that, Jeff. We do have a few coaches on here, and not to put them on the spot, but they're used to. Coach Friedholm, why don't you do a little update on baseball? Because I know you got a big event coming up in the spring.
Sure. Love being put on the spot. So thank you, boss. No, we have our big fundraiser for baseball is Friday, January 20th at Highland Brewing. It is called Baseball Night in Asheville. This year, we have not announced it, but to these special 60-some-odd guests, we can announce that Tim Kirkchin is willing to come back this year and speak for us since he was not able to attend last year. So he'll be a great speaker, Hall of Famer, ESPN analyst. We got some great auction items coming in, and that's really truly a kickoff to our season because our first day of practice is the following week, and our first game is February 17th. So we're excited to get the guys back and get this thing rolling for the spring.
I'll go next to Adam's on here. Adam, why don't you give a little post update on cross country, and then we'll hand it off to Joel and let him talk a little bit about indoor and outdoor track. So y'all are up next.
Yeah, so I felt really good about our cross country season. Our men placed third at the conference championships, which we were third last year as well. So kind of our two highest finishes in the past 20 years. The men also placed 17th at the NCAA regionals. So there's 35 teams that are represented at that race. So all the Division I teams in North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, and Kentucky. So it was fun to be in the mix there. And I believe that was our highest finish in right around 20 years. So a really good season for our men's team. And we bring back 8 of our top 10 guys. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what we're going to be able to do in the future as well. And our women had a good season. We were 7th in the conference, just 8 points out of being 4th place. So just me as kind of being up there right at the top. But the fun thing is we had a really young team, and we're going to bring back 7 of those 8 ladies and have a really good recruiting class coming in. So I'm excited to see what we're going to be able to do in the future with those ladies and, make some run at some championships on both sides.
All
Thanks,
right,
Janet.
Coach Joel, you're welcome. Thanks. Good job, Adam.
I will say, I think this past fall, we probably had in recent years the best fall training that I can recall since I've been here, and this is my 16th year. So we're looking forward to what all that training produces later on. We've already had one meet. We've set a number of school records in that, a number of second best all time, et cetera. And of course, so we're looking forward, obviously, to see what we can do with those results and those improvements for the indoor and the outdoor season. And of course, the other exciting thing is we have a brand new track and field facility under construction currently. If somebody had asked me, like, what type of facility would you like to have if you could pick any, it's the one we're getting. So we're very, very excited about that. Not only for the purpose of having our student athletes have a great place they can train, but we can actually host home meets. And that's going to be very exciting for the program. And also recruiting should receive an uptick from being able to have such a facility.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned your first indoor track meet. I love talking about, we just beat App in indoor track. We beat Western Carolina in men's indoor track. That we beat some of those other bigger schools. So good job. I think we also have Coach Jen Peterson on here. I think I saw her face on one of these. Jen, are you still on? Maybe no. Okay. Well, that'll lead me to a couple of things. I want to give a couple updates once again to say, yes, it sounds like we're having a great semester, and we certainly did, and a lot of things to look forward to as men's and women's basketball are competing. Obviously, swimming just left yesterday for a trip, a training trip that they do, I think, once about every 4 years. Women's golf is, obviously had a good fall, hosted their golf tournament at Walnut Cove. We are making strides in all of our sports for sure, and men's and women's tennis. But, like anything, this has been a fall of a lot of transition in a lot of ways. And I don't know which way to start, but I'll start with one of the most recent ones. If you are not aware of, today it was announced that our new leader for the NCAA has been hired and will start as the governor of Massachusetts is now going to be the new president and leader of the NCAA. So, that is going to be something that is a change. Also, recently in the fall, the commissioner of the Big South Conference, Kyle Callander, has announced that he will retire at the end of this academic year. So we are in the process looking for a new commissioner of the Big South Conference. And then going to our campus, obviously, earlier in the fall, it was announced that Chancellor Cable would be leaving us to join the Keenan Foundation. And we now have an interim chancellor, Dr. Kimberly Van North, who actually has been on campus all fall. She's been coming to volleyball and basketball and other athletic events. So we're excited to work with her. And we are presently will start national searches in January. First of all, our longtime men's tennis coach announced that this would be his last season of coaching college tennis, that he's actually going to stay here in Nashville, but work over at Biltmore Forest Country Club on their new tennis facility. And Tom Hand's done a great job. Our men's tennis program has just been a top program in the Big South for several years now. And we just announced earlier this week that Fred Santos is going to be leaving us, and Jim Peterson is going to be serving as the interim head coach until we get that search underway in the spring. So we are having a little bit of transition. And Joel did mention one of my highlights. If every day I look outside to see, other than the days it's been raining recently, our track is under construction. It's a $4.5 million project, and we have raised right at $3.5 million of that all since May. So that is really good news. The timeline is that it will be finished in late March, early April. They'll continue to work through the winter. All of the supplies, including the track surface itself, everything was ordered before July, so we're not going to have shipping issues or any of that. The only thing we have to wait for in the spring is that to warm up a little bit, to put sod on the infield and actually put the track surface down. So we hope that we'll run a little soft opening and a little celebration in April, early May, to allow our senior track folks to have a chance to really get out there and say they ran on our the brand new track, and was the first group to actually have sort of a small track meet in over 20 some years on our campus. So that's exciting news. And we continue to work on our other outdoor facilities too. So that's pretty exciting for us. Rebecca, can you remind this group, just because we're going to enjoy the holidays, but it will pass quickly, and we'll say, when's the first day of classes? Kind of give us a little update on coming back in the spring.
Okay, I will have to say I'm going to have to pull up a calendar because I do not have that in my brain. But we are back in classes. I believe the first day is January the 9th. Let me just double check that. Yes, first day of classes is January 9th. And so one of the things, another piece of information that your student athletes know, that all the student athletes are registered for classes in the spring. Some of them are on waiting lists. Those waiting lists, if a seat opens up, they have 24 hours to accept that seat. They can contact a professor, but the professor cannot do anything about enrolling them in a class until the Friday before classes start. Everything is automatic up until the Friday, whatever that would be, 7th or something.
Well, that's about time. My dog Sam is starting to bark. A question came up about the timeline of the other facilities, and we are obviously trying to move. I think one of the last Zooms, the whole outdoor facility projects, a $20 million facility that upgrades that are part of the capital campaign. Unfortunately, in the state of North Carolina, you cannot use state funds for athletic facilities. So our timeline is dependent upon people donating. And so, the track project took off. We got a $1.5 million grant. We had some donors step up with some significant gifts that allowed us to move forward and really have the funding in place to get that done. So now we continue to work on, not only myself and Aaron and David and others on campus, finding those donors who will fund track and soccer. So, that's what we're going to move to next, is finishing the baseball project, finishing the track, and trying to find the funding to get the soccer. So, it's all dependent on philanthropy and grants. So so the timeline is they won't let us start projects without money in hand or pledges. So that was a great question. We have made obviously some improvements to all those facilities, but we have more to do. High priority to get artificial turf on the soccer field. That is a high priority because of the kind of weather we've been having the last couple of years. It's hard to keep natural grass playable year round. Other questions? Well, I say kudos to all of the parents and guardians who got on. We really appreciate that you care enough to spend a little bit of time with us. Once again, if there's anything we can do for you over the holidays or in the spring semester, it's pretty easy to get in touch with us by email or phone. Reach out, encourage your student athletes. There's so many ways for them to communicate with us and tell us things that we need to know, things that we want to know. And that's really important to us as we continue to try to get better in the spring semester. So happy holidays to everyone. And thanks again for getting on. And if you think of something, just shoot us an email or give us a call. Thank you. Go Bulldogs.